Chapter 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 15 days before the night of genocide. There are still 15 days until the night of genocide. Uchiha Qianye stood alone at the railing on the second floor of the Konoha Guard Corps, looking outside through the glass. The sun was warm and the breeze was gentle. Some members of the Guard Corps who had just completed the handover walked and laughed while talking about what interesting things had happened recently and which small shop had new dishes, peaceful, harmonious, and happy. Just like for so many years, however, Uchiha Qianye knew that all this warmth was just an illusion. The night of the Uchiha clan extermination is coming. In 15 days, the Uchiha family, which carries countless glory, will be annihilated from the world. Qianye is a time traveler. From the first day he came, he knew that this day would eventually come. It's just hard to change. With the tacit consent of the third Hokage, Shimura Danzo, the leader of the Konoha Root organization, forced Uchiha Itachi to massacre the Uchiha clan. This night of genocide, the Root organization, Uchiha Itachi, and the human Uchiha Obito disguised as Uchiha Madara all participated. The strength of the lineup is so strong that even a Kage-level powerhouse would find it difficult to deal with it. Qianye's training aptitude is not bad, but it is definitely not too outstanding. It can only be barely regarded as excellent, and it is not outstanding at all. Even after so many years, no matter how hard he has trained, his strength is only that of a 3 Magatama Jonin. How can he survive the night of genocide that even Kage-level powerhouses find difficult to deal with? Thinking of this, Uchiha Qianye couldn't help but frown slightly. A strong sense of urgency made him, who has always been very calm, a little uneasy. 15 days, only 15 days, he had to face the cleanup campaign initiated by Uchiha Dai Takako. Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito, a masked man disguised as Uchiha Madara, did it themselves. There was also the Root organization headed by Danzo secretly monitoring. This is simply the level of hell difficulty. How could he survive? As for leaving Konoha before the night of genocide, not to mention where he could escape to, without any transfer order, leaving without permission would be considered a traitor to Konoha. With his ordinary Jonin-level strength, facing Konoha's pursuit, wouldn't he still be dead in the end? Could it be, there is really no way out? Thinking of this, Uchiha Qianye couldn't help but feel a little sad. Countdown to the night of Uchiha clan extermination, 14 days, 11 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds. Do you want to start the simulation of the night of genocide? At this moment, 2 lines of transparent text suddenly appeared in front of Qianye's eyes, which made him suddenly startled. This is the system. Uchiha Qianye's eyes showed a hint of obvious joy. When he first came to this world, he had been trying to awaken his system, but he had never succeeded, and slowly gave up. Unexpectedly, when the night of genocide was approaching, the system turned on automatically, the simulation system of the night of genocide. In his previous life, he had come into contact with similar simulation-type games. I don't know if there are any similarities. Let's try it first. As soon as the thought moved in his mind, the transparent text in front of him seemed to sense what he was thinking, and it also changed. Uchiha Clan Extermination Night Simulator is now open. The Uchiha Clan Extermination Night Simulator has been opened. Before each simulation begins, the host can choose 3 of the 10 randomly appearing abilities to simulate. Among all the abilities, gold ability is the highest and rarest, followed by purple, blue, and white. After the simulation is over, the host can choose an ability to solidify into real life, and the host can retain this ability until the next simulation, and it does not occupy the optional ability position. The simulator can be used an unlimited number of times within a day, with no cooldown period until the next day when the cooldown period of up to 2 days begins. Note, the host can perform countless simulations in one day, but can only solidify one ability at most. Daily solidification capabilities can be replaced on the same day, but once the simulator enters the cooldown period, the previously selected capabilities will be permanently retained and cannot be replaced. At the same time, the solidification capability times will be refreshed. If the ability is not solidified the day before, the number of solidified abilities will be reset to 0 and will not be retained. After reading all this, Qianye had a general understanding of this simulator, especially the permanent retention of abilities, retention in real life, and solidification of talents, made his heartbeat unconsciously accelerate. If there is no deviation in his understanding, this will be the most important means for him to become stronger quickly and deal with the night of genocide. He looked at the clock hanging on the wall. It is now 12:13, at about 12:13 tomorrow, the simulator will enter a 2-day cooler. When it is turned on again 2 days later, the number of solidified abilities will be refreshed. In other words, he must simulate as much as possible during this period of time, extract more and better abilities, and then solidify them. Now there are less than 15 days until the night of Uchiha Genocide. He can't miss any opportunity to become stronger. Only in this way can he survive the night of genocide. Uchiha Qianye exhaled a long breath and silently said in his heart, "System, start simulation." The Uchiha Clan Extermination Night Simulation begins. Currently available abilities: Chakra plus 500, Eye Power plus 100, Fire Escape Master, One-Handed Seal. Please select 3 of the above abilities to simulate. Just like the game panel he had seen in his previous life, Uchiha Qianye was not unfamiliar with this and began to browse and select carefully. Chakra amount plus 500, White ability slightly increase the chakra limit that Eye Power plus 100, Blue ability Eye Power is enhanced, and the perception of everything is more acute. Fire Style Master, Blue ability when performing Fire Style, the power will be greatly enhanced. One-Handed Seal, Blue ability you can use only one hand to seal and perform ninjutsu. The abilities that were refreshed for the first time were somewhat disappointing, not to mention the golden abilities. There wasn't even a single purple ability, there were only a few blue abilities. However, it was only the first simulation, and Uchiha Qianye was not too disappointed. And these abilities were actually pretty good, although not enough to directly increase his strength by a large margin. They were definitely useful and were considered a significant enhancement. Just some of the blue and white abilities had already reached this level. Wouldn't the purple and golden abilities be able to directly make people take off? It was really exciting. Finally, after considering for a moment, Qianye chose Pupil Power plus 100, Fire Escape Master, and One-Hand Seal, 3 blue abilities. Selection complete. Start simulation. Chapter 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Simulator. Start simulating. As the simulation began, the next moment, Uchiha Qianye's eyes and surroundings changed. He appeared in his own room, and it was pitch black outside. It was quiet, without a single sound. Only the whirring sound of the wind was particularly obvious. Is this the night of the Uchiha clan extermination? Uchiha Qianye murmured, looking at the room where he had lived for more than 10 years. It was basically the same as real life. His own chakra and ninjutsu were running smoothly as usual. This didn't feel like a simulation, it was clearly a real experience. It was exactly the same as if he had experienced it himself. However, Qianye now had no time to marvel at these things. He had already arrived at the night of the clan extermination. Uchiha Itachi or Uchiha Obito would come to kill him at any time. Staying in the room was a dead end, and he had to find a way to survive. Escape. Escape from the Uchiha clan settlement. In order to avoid Itachi and Obito's cleanup, this was what Qianye had been planning for more than 10 years. It was also the best way he could think of. After all, whether it was Uchiha Itachi or Uchiha Obito, both Obito and Ha are at the level of Kage, or even above. They are much stronger than an ordinary Jonin with 3 Magatama Sharingan. A head-on confrontation would definitely lead to death. The only chance of survival is to try to escape. To this end, he deliberately explored and searched for routes. In the end, he successfully planned an extremely hidden route that would be least likely to be discovered. There is no time to lose. The night of genocide has begun, and he must act as soon as possible. He made up his mind. Qianye jumped out of the window, just like an agile cheetah, nimble and free. As a Jonin of Konoha who has practiced ninjutsu for more than 10 years, he certainly knows these most basic things. Under the dark night sky, Qianye jumped quickly and cautiously in the shadows. It was pitch black all around, but under the 3 Magatama and the present moment of Sharingan, all these are not obstacles at all, especially in the simulation. Qianye chose the ability of Pupil Power plus 100. It directly made his pupil power have a very obvious improvement. He can clearly see everything in the dark. Just like in the daytime, in addition, he can also feel the obvious changes in himself, that is, he has become stronger. Originally, he was an ordinary jonin in terms of his own strength level, but now he has reached the level of elite jonin. This improvement is not a little bit. When the strength reaches a certain level, every step to improve is very difficult, it all requires time and experience to accumulate, and he has achieved such a big leap in just a moment, which is not an exaggeration. This is just 3 blue ability only. What about purple? Or even gold? If he can have a few gold talents on the day when the simulation ends, even if he faces Uchiha Itachi or Uchiha Obito, he may not be defeated. Thinking of this, Qianye couldn't help but look forward to the purple and gold talents that might appear later. The street was empty and quiet, even with the lights on in the room, no sound could be heard. Qianye keenly felt the cold murderous intent in the air. He knew that the cleanup might have begun. This made Qianye's heart a little urgent, and he quickened his pace and continued to move forward. This was the route he had carefully planned for more than 10 years, almost avoiding all the main roads that he would usually take, and choosing the paths that were rarely traveled. The only 2 people who really participated in the night of genocide were Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito. Even if they were Kage-level strongmen, it was impossible for them to take the overall situation into consideration and not let go of every place. What's more, it was already dark at this time. Almost everyone didn't know that the night of genocide was coming, and they were all at home as usual. How could Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito know that someone had known all this more than 10 years ago and had carefully planned it? With a deliberate plan, the chances of him escaping under their noses are not small. As for Danzo's root organization, they watched and supervised from the sidelines to ensure that Itachi did not show mercy or escape. In the chaos, however, this is the gathering place of the Uchiha family. No matter how familiar he is with this place, how can he compare to Qianye, who has lived here for more than 10 years and has carefully studied the escape route for more than 10 years? Since he decided to escape this way, he was sure that he would not be discovered. Along the way, he was careful and cautious, without any negligence. This is the character that Qianye has cultivated over the years. No matter how dangerous the situation is, he can always remain absolutely calm and composed. Pressure will never distract his energy, but will only make him more focused and calm. After about 10 minutes, Qianye successfully escaped. He looked back at the Uchiha family settlement, which was unusually quiet, and exhaled a long breath. This journey seemed calm, but it was in danger all the time. After escaping here, it should be. There won't be any more danger, maybe, right? Qianye turned his head suddenly. His eyeballs turned blood red in an instant. 3 Magatama scattered around. Sharingan opened. Those were 3 kunai with cold murderous intent shooting at him. Under the cover of the dark night, there was no sound, no trace, but now in front of the 3 Magatama Sharingan, it was extremely clear. Qianye jumped into the air and dodged easily. Bang, bang, bang. The 3 kunai shot at the tree trunk behind Qianye's original position one after another, making a clear sound. Qianye looked calm, without any hesitation. He formed a seal with one hand, and released ninjutsu at a dazzling speed. As early as the moment he turned around, he had already seen the person hiding in the dark and shooting kunai, so as soon as he landed, he directly performed ninjutsu, fire style, great fireball technique. A powerful flame burst out from Qianye's mouth. It turned into a huge fireball, rolling forward with a scorching air wave and the momentum to burn everything. Fire style, great fireball technique. The Uchiha clan learned the basic ninjutsu of fire style. Although simple, it is very practical and the power is not weak. Now, under Qianye's performance, it has shown an absolutely extraordinary power. Under this ninjutsu, 3 figures who were hiding in the dark were forced to show up and appeared in front of Qianye. They were dressed similarly to ordinary Konoha ninjas. They wore masks that revealed some weirdness. Root organization. 3-day summer discount event. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Top up now. Event time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Root, aren't you just an ordinary jonin? Damn it. Isn't this guy just an ordinary jonin who has activated 3 Magatama? Have they been hiding their strength all along? The 3 ninjas from the Root organization could not hide their surprise. As an organization that is more hidden than the Umbu of Konoha, their power and influence on the entire Konoha have already reached a level that ordinary people can hardly imagine. Before the night of the genocide, they had already accurately understood and evaluated the strength of every member of the Uchiha family. Uchiha Chiba was naturally among them, an ordinary jonin who has opened 3 Magatama. Because of the existence of the Sharingan, his strength is higher than that of ordinary jonin, but now, Uchiha Chiba has shown his pupil power, adaptability, and the power of ninjutsu. This is clearly an elite jonin. Not to mention, making hand seals with one hand, even in the entire Konoha, how many people can do it? So what? If the 3 of us attack together, what accidents can happen? A member of the Root organization said solemnly. The next moment, the 3 ninjas released ninjutsu almost at the same time. Fire-style dragon fire technique. Earth escape earth dragon bomb. Water-style water wave. 3 ninjutsu of different attributes gushed out in Qianye's direction at once. To be chosen by Danzo and become a member of the Root organization, their abilities should not be underestimated. Even if they were only releasing some ordinary ninjutsu, even if Qianye was an elite jonin, it would be impossible for him to deal with it easily. Fire-style, phoenix fire technique. The scorching flames gushed out of Qianye's mouth and spread everywhere. Instantly, the surrounding lights were illuminated, with the scorching air waves, like burning missiles. Under the control of chakra, they shot towards the 3-inch Root organization ninjas in front of them. Not only did they instantly block the attacks of the 3 ninjas, but they even forced the 3 ninjas to jump and dodge the remaining missiles. The power was so great that it was unimaginable. A master of fire style. Really amazing. Qianye murmured, if it was only the ability of an elite jonin, it would definitely not be able to stop 3-inch Root ninjas from performing ninjutsu at the same time, but Qianye blocked it. On the one hand, it was because of the enhancement of his pupil power, which improved his own strength, but more importantly, it was because of the master of fire style. When performing fire style, the power was greatly enhanced, which led to the current situation. Qianye's blood-red 3 Magatama Sharingan revealed a little excitement. He could block 3-inch Root ninjas at the same time with his own strength, and still have a slight advantage. This was simply unimaginable for him before. However, in the next moment, the expression on his face suddenly changed. It came from the intelligence of the ninja. Many tiny footsteps or whistling sounds were approaching. Ninja. Many ninjas. They were rushing towards him. 1, 2, 3, 10, 23. They were dressed similarly to ordinary Konoha ninjas. They wore masks. The patterns on the masks were more complicated than those of the Umbu, the Root organization. They are ruthless and don't talk much. As soon as they arrive, they perform dozens of ninjutsu at the same time. Fire-style dragon fire technique. Earth escape earth dragon bomb. Water-style water wave. This simulation failed. Looking at the line of text in the void, Qianye was not discouraged at all, but a little excited, although it ended in failure in the end. But his performance in the simulated battle of the night of genocide. He fought against the 3 people of the Root organization alone and was not at a disadvantage. He could even gain some advantages. If it weren't for the fact that the battle was too loud later, it attracted the attention of other ninjas of the Root organization around. He might not be able to survive this 1-on-3 duel. More importantly, this was only his first simulation, and he was only exposed to some blue abilities. After that, with his simulations again and again, he will definitely be able to get stronger abilities to deal with the night of genocide. This made Qianye's heart full of expectations, but at the same time, it also made him see the strength of the enemy. In order to deal with the night of genocide, he prepared for more than 10 years. The time and escape route were planned very accurately, but the fact is that his route is indeed hidden, and he basically didn't encounter any accidents, but in the end he was discovered. It is true that there are many ways to escape from the Uchiha family settlement, but there are only a few real exits. As long as the Root organization guards these exits, they can guard everything. In other words, if he wants to avoid Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito, he has to face the ninjas guarding the exits, and he must deal with them secretly, without making too much noise. Otherwise, the same result will occur this time, attracting too many Root organization ninjas or attracting Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito. That would be troublesome. But it is not an easy task to get rid of the ninjas of the root organization without making a sound. At least, Qianye's current ability is far from enough. Qianye squinted his eyes. It seems that this night of genocide is much more complicated and difficult than he thought. In order to successfully survive the night of genocide, he must hurry up to simulate more and find more possibilities. Try to get better abilities as much as possible to enhance his strength. This is what he should do most at this time. However, he is still in the Konoha guard. It is not okay to stay here for a long time to simulate. According to his previous experience, once he enters the simulation, the whole person is like entering another. The world is so real that it is unimaginable. The perception of the original world is infinitely close to zero. After simulating here for a long time, it is inevitable that someone will notice something abnormal. It just so happens that it is time for him to hand over the shift. It is only because he suddenly got the system that he stayed so long for the simulation. Now, with the end of the first simulation, it is time for him to go back. Uchiha Qianye's house is in the eastern corner of the Uchiha settlement, which is a bit remote. This just fits Qianye's always arrogant and solitary personality. Qianye is an orphan. Both parents died in the Third Ninja World War. It seems unfortunate, but from another point of view, it also provides Qianye with enough space to be alone and protect his secrets. Let him guard his secrets. After returning, Qianye did not waste any time. He prepared to start the simulation directly. Time is limited. Being able to simulate one more time and refresh one more round of talents means that it is more likely that he can safely survive the night of genocide. However, before that, he really needs to choose to solidify an ability and use it in the next simulation. Are you learning to solidify your abilities among the following talents? Eye power plus 100, blue ability eye power is enhanced, and the perception of everything is more acute. Fire style master, blue ability when performing fire style, the power will be greatly enhanced. One-handed seal, blue ability you can use only one hand to seal and perform ninjutsu. 3 blue talents, there is not much entanglement. In the end, it is very likely to be replaced. I still don't believe it. I brushed it all day and didn't get even a purple or gold ability. This is basically impossible. In the end, Qianye chose the ability of pupil plus 100. As a member of the Uchiha clan, the improvement brought by the strengthening of pupil power is all round, and of course it will become his first choice. 3-day summer promotion, recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Holy shit. Golden Legend. As the ability was selected, Qianye's Sharingan opened instantly and uncontrollably. His eyes turned blood red, redder, brighter, and more oppressive than usual. After a short moment, he returned to normal. The ability was successfully solidified. The system issued a timely reminder. The ability was solidified. Interesting. Qianye clearly felt the strengthening of his pupil power and the changes in himself. This made him very excited. He quickly started the next simulation. The Uchiha clan Extermination night simulation begins. Currently available abilities: pupil skills plus 100, illusion master, ice escape, physical skills plus 50. As the latest abilities were revealed one by one, Qianye's eyes suddenly flashed. The ability at the end of the optional abilities. Ice escape, purple ability, a type of bloodline limit, the ability to control water and wind at the same time, and can directly form ice shield. It is a very powerful and extremely rare ability in Naruto. Just getting this ability is enough to greatly increase his strength, even far exceeding himself in the last simulation. Such a powerful ability is only purple. Wouldn't the golden ability be so strong that it is outrageous? Qianye's heart couldn't help but look forward to it even more. Then he selected another ability, plus the purple ability, ice escape, and the previously retained ability of pupil power plus 100, to complete the 3 abilities and prepare to enter the simulation. Ice escape, purple ability, a type of bloodline limit that controls water and wind at the same time, and can directly form ice. Eye power plus 100, blue ability eye power is enhanced, and the perception of everything is more acute. Illusion master, blue ability when performing an illusion, the power will be greatly enhanced. Ability selection complete. Start simulation. Same room, same situation. The difference is that Uchiha Qianye is no longer as curious about all this as he was at the beginning. He jumped out from the window. following the original route, he jumped in the shadows that few people would notice. Last time, he failed because he made too much noise during the fight. He attracted the root organization ninjas next to him, and this time, with the experience of the last time, he wants to try again, even if he still can't get rid of these ninjas. Quietly, at least he can have a better understanding of these opponents and hone his own fighting skills and experience. Almost everyone knows clearly how great the improvement is for those who can survive in the battle of life and death. It's just that once this kind of thing fails, the price paid is too high. Under normal circumstances, no one will go back to seek death like this. However, it is different for Qianye, who has the Night of Extermination simulator. As long as the simulator is turned on, he can experience these as many times as he wants to hone himself without having to worry about anything else. This benefit is no less than a purple or even golden ability. After all, no matter how powerful an ability is, it always takes hard battles again and again to bring out its 120% effect. Of course, the so-called tempering is to find people with similar strength to fight for life and death. If the gap between the two sides is too big, it is not tempering at all, it is pure masochism. Qianye does not have this habit, therefore. For Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito, whose strength has reached the level of Kage, Qianye will avoid them if he can. He has no intention of fighting with them at all. For him now, these root organization ninjas with strong strength and large numbers are the best choices for tempering. As for challenging Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito, there will be such a day. Qianye believes that there will be such a day. Moreover, with the help of the Night of Extermination simulator, this day will definitely not come too late. Under the dark night sky, Qianye's expression is calm with a hint of excitement. This is a life and death tempering that belongs to him alone. The second simulation failed. The third simulation failed. The 10th simulation failed. The 15th time. 24th time. Later, even Qianye himself didn't know how many times he had simulated. He only knew that many, many times, all ended in failure, but the benefits of so many simulations are also obvious. From the beginning, he needed some effort to fight with 3-inch root ninjas. Slowly, he was able to deal with more and more root ninjas on his own. 4, 6, 7. By the last simulation, he killed more than 10 root ninjas. Although this was due to the continuous optimization of the system's capabilities and the fact that Qianye had a great understanding of the ninjutsu of the root ninja members through repeated simulations, it was largely related, but relying on these alone, it was impossible to kill more than 10 root ninjas. This was the result of the impact of repeated life and death experiences on Qianye and the improvement of his strength. If Qianye, who started the simulation at the beginning, was just an ordinary ninja with 3 Magatama Sharingan opened, he could reach the elite ninja level only with the blessing of the system's capabilities. Now Qianye even has no system's ability blessing, just relying on the experience and skills he gained from repeated fights and training. His actual strength has surpassed that of an elite jonin. This exaggerated growth is simply amazing. Sure enough, growth is fastest between life and death. Although it is a simulation, it is no different from the real thing. The pain, air, humidity, and blood are exactly the same. The only pity is that after so many simulations, I have seen a few purple abilities, but I haven't even seen a shadow of the golden ability. It really makes people feel a little regretful, but it's just a pity. In such a short period of time, there can be such a big improvement. Qianye is also very satisfied. System, start simulation. After a brief summary of the experience of the previous simulation, Qianye seemed to have no idea of fatigue and quickly started a new simulation. The Uchiha Clan Extermination Night simulation begins. Please select 3 of the following 10 abilities to simulate. Currently available abilities: Flame Release Master, Chakra plus 800, Taijutsu plus 500. Qianye's eyes followed the abilities revealed by the system one by one. He read very quickly. After so many simulations, he only needed to glance at the names of many abilities to clearly know the benefits brought by this ability. However, when his eyes saw the last line, his eyes suddenly froze. Then there was a very obvious joy. This was rarely seen on Qianye's face, who was always calm and rarely showed anger, but now there was such an emotional fluctuation. All this was because of the last line of text, gold. A line of golden words. This is a golden ability. 3-day summer promotion. recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Otsutsuki's Physique. Take off. Otsutsuki Physique, Golden Ability has super strong self-healing ability, comparable to immortality when in the extreme state, and can also absorb ninjutsu, and the chakra that can be possessed is almost infinite. Therefore, it is also called the immortal body. This is clearly the body of a god. With the Otsutsuki Physique here, no matter what other physique is brought here, it is not good enough, there is no comparison at all. The Otsutsuki Physique is the source of all the abnormal physiques such as self-healing and immortality. Even the magical physiques of the Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan are just diluted versions of the Otsutsuki Physique. Its strength can be seen. Being able to brush such a terrible ability made Qianye's calm heart a little restless, but he did not lose his mind. Getting the Otsutsuki Physique does not mean that you are invincible and can't be killed by anyone. In the introduction given by the system, there are a few words that Qianye attaches great importance to, that is, when it reaches the extreme state. He just got the Otsutsuki Physique, can he reach the extreme state? Obviously impossible, otherwise, he would not deliberately add these words. The road must be walked step by step, and the meal must be eaten bite by bite. There is no such thing as overnight success, just like the Uchiha family's Sharingan. It is not the eternal Mangekyo. Once it is opened, everything needs a process. The Otsutsuki Physique is very strong, so strong that it makes people want to curse and scold it. But this also requires a prerequisite, that is, Qianye himself is strong enough so that he can maximize the power of the Otsutsuki Physique. Suppress your somewhat restless heart. Qianye first decided to choose the Otsutsuki Physique, and then randomly selected 2 abilities, and was about to start a new round of simulation. He couldn't wait to try how much the Otsutsuki Physique would increase him. However, just as he was about to start the simulation, the system suddenly sent a prompt. There are 10 minutes left before the system enters the cooldown period. If the host is in the simulation, it will be forcibly interrupted. Reminder, do you want to update the curing capability? After 1 minute, the system will enter a cooldown period and the selected capabilities will not be modifiable. System, Immediate Solidification Ability Otsutsuki Physique. Seeing the system prompt, Qianye said hurriedly, I have been immersed in the simulations again and again, and forgot the time for a while. I didn't expect it to be this time. The system will enter the 2-day cooling period in 10 minutes. The most important thing at this time is to solidify the Otsutsuki Constitution. Such an outrageous ability cannot be missed no matter what. Are you sure to replace the original solidification ability with Otsutsuki Physique? Confirm. Qianye said without any hesitation. As soon as the words fell, Qianye's body suddenly felt a very strong sense of discomfort. It was as if something was peeled off. Correspondingly, Qianye's strength also declined to a certain extent. Qianye, who had experienced multiple replacement solidification abilities, knew that this was part of the replacement solidification ability. If you want to replace, you naturally have to remove the previous one. Qianye endured this feeling of discomfort. After a while, a strange energy flowed along the top of his head and flowed to all parts of his body. It was warm and comfortable, but what followed was the severe pain that ordinary people could not bear. On his body, there were bursts of crisp sounds. It was as if every bone was broken. At the same time, some sweat began to seep out of Qianye's body, but it was different from ordinary sweat. Some were black and had a strong fishy smell. Qianye frowned, and blue veins bulged on his forehead. He tried his best to control himself and endure the severe pain. This situation lasted for about 5 or 6 minutes before it finally stopped. The system's prompt sound also sounded at this time that the solidification capability has been replaced successfully. Tip: there is 1 minute left before the system enters the cooling time. Qianye exhaled a long breath. Although he had endured inhuman pain, he finally solidified his ability before the system entered the cooling time. Feeling the extremely surging vitality far beyond his previous life in his body, Qianye couldn't help but feel very happy. The Uchiha clan Extermination night simulation system has entered a cooling-off period. As the last line of words slowly disappeared, Qianye looked at the clock on the wall. 12:00, the same time as when he just got the system, that is to say, he can only start a new simulation at 12 o'clock 2 days later. Now, it is probably time to change shifts. Qianye washed himself casually, changed into a new ninja uniform, and then went to the Konoha guard. As soon as he arrived at the guard, a member of the guard came to inform him. He said that the captain summoned him. Qianye went to the captain's office again. The captain of the Konoha guard is the leader of the Uchiha family, Uchiha Fugaku. In his previous life, Qianye didn't think much of this extremely cowardly Uchiha clan leader. As the patriarch of the Uchiha family, he is also a shadow-level strongman who has opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. He actually watched his son and the masked man slaughter the entire Uchiha clan. It's really enough. However, these words are just said in my heart. Qianye is not stupid enough to bring such words out in the open. Soon, Qianye came to Fuyue's office. Team leader. Qianye, you are here. Fugaku raised his head and looked at Qianye, with a hint of strangeness in his eyes. The feeling and aura of Qianye today were a little different from what he remembered, but he didn't think much about it, just thinking that he hadn't seen him for a long time. So it was like this. In the room, besides Fugaku, there were two girls standing. They were both 15 or 16 years old. One of them had curly hair and big, round eyes, which were a beautiful red. Her appearance was very outstanding. She was pure and charming. Her name was Sunset Red, and she was a very famous beauty. Among the younger generation of Konoha, the other one was called Yuzuki Yugao. She had with long purple hair and a knife on his back. He looks cool and aloof. He is also the dream lover of countless young people in Konoha. Even if these two stand together and say nothing or do nothing, they will attract a lot of attention. However, Qianye now looks straight ahead, says nothing, and doesn't even say hello. This is exactly in line with his usual style. He keeps to himself, doesn't get along with others, and has almost no friends, not to mention women. 3 days summer promotion, recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mission execution. Teammates Yuzuki Yugao and Yuhi Kurenai. Then, the captain of the Konoha guard, Uchiha Fugaku, told Qianye about the situation in general. Another team member who was supposed to perform the mission with Yuzuki Yugao and Yuhi Kurenai was injured and could not participate in this mission. Therefore, someone must be found to replace him and make up a 3-person team to perform this mission. So Qianye was found. As for why there were so many ninjas who chose Qianye, Qianye didn't know, and didn't want to know. He didn't care at all. This was just an ordinary task for him. The difficulty of the task was sea-level. As a senior ninja, such a task can be said to be very easy. Of course, all this still depends on the actual situation encountered during the execution of the mission. Who can guarantee that there will be no accidents? Of course, such accidents are rare. After that, Fugaku explained the specific task again. It is to send a brocade box with unknown content to the river country and hand it over to the daimyo. Because it is a request from the Konoha village, it also involves the cooperation between the Uchiha family and Konoha. Therefore, Fugaku repeatedly reminded them that although the mission was not difficult, there must be no mistakes. In the temporary team, Yuhi Kurenai and Yuzuki Yugao were both chunin level. Only Qianye was a jonin. Once something went wrong, Qianye, who was the strongest, would bear the main responsibility. In the current situation where Konoha and the entire Uchiha family are fighting overtly and covertly, this mistake will be infinitely magnified, and even used as an excuse by people with ulterior motives to target the Uchiha family. Qianye agreed on the surface, but sneered in his heart. As the head of the clan, Uchiha Fugaku was too cowardly and was not really an excellent leader. He had already opened the Mangekyo Sharingan and at least had the strength of a Kage. In addition, the Uchiha clan was already very strong. Facing Konoha, why would they give in again and again and retreat again and again? With such a clan leader, it was not surprising that the Uchiha family would eventually have such a fate. After receiving the mission and making a brief preparation, Qianye set out with Mao Yu Shiyen and Shihai Hong. However, not long after the three of them left, a figure slowly emerged from the darkness and looked in the direction where the others left. He was wearing a black robe and a samurai sword at his waist. He wore an orange mask with black stripes on his face, revealing only one eye. That eye glowed with a dim red light. Within the red light, 3 magatama were connected to each other, forming a blade-like shape. just looking at it made people feel an extremely strong pressure, Mangekyo Sharingan. The river country and the fire country are adjacent to each other, they are not too far away from each other. With the speed of the three of them, it usually takes more than a day to go back and forth. It will not delay Qianye's simulation of the night of extermination, but for the sake of safety, Qianye deliberately speeded up the pace, even if there were two beautiful women like Yuhi Kurenai and Maui Yugao accompanying him. He completely ignored them, he treated them as ordinary people. This surprised Yuhi Kurenai and Maui Yugao. Qianye seemed to be very different from everyone they had met before, serious, rational, mature, and cold, and very handsome. Handsome to the point of being deadly handsome, short black hair, black pupils, exquisite facial features that are a bit out of place, like a perfect face carved out. In addition, his body is much taller and taller than that of ordinary people, and the unspeakable mystery that always lingers around him. He is simply a walking hormone. It makes people's heart beat just by looking at him. It's just a pity that this personality is too cold. And he hardly gets along with anyone, and directly keeps people at a distance, so, even though they knew each other when they were young in the ninja school, they had no intersection at all. Yuhi Kurenai and Mao Yuxiyan always had the impression that Qianye was extremely handsome, but he was very withdrawn and was a very difficult person to get along with, so, along the way, the three of them hardly had much communication. Qianye was in front, Yuhi Kurenai was behind, and Mao Yuxiyan was in the middle. They just kept rushing, and rushing. In this way, about a few hours passed. Qianye suddenly felt that Yuhi Kurenai and Mao Yuxiyan, who were originally following behind him, could not keep up, and the distance between them was getting bigger and bigger. Looking back, sure enough, I saw that Yuhi Kurenai and Mao Yuxiyan were already panting slightly, with fine beads of sweat on their heads. Obviously tired, but still gritting their teeth and persisting. Qianye suddenly realized he was originally a jonin, and after yesterday's life-and-death fight in the simulator and the Otsutsuki physique he obtained, his strength increased greatly. He has already surpassed the category of ordinary jonin, although there is still a clear distance from the Kage-level strongmen. However, he is definitely above the elite jonin. However, Kurenai Yuhi and Yuzuki Yugao are just ordinary chunins. He can bear the long rush, but Kurenai Yuhi and Yuzuki Yugao can't. They are probably tired a long time ago, it's just that they are unwilling to say it because of face. Qianye looked at the road ahead. It is still a long way to their destination, at least half a day is needed. Yuzuki Yugao and Kurenai Yuhi will definitely not be able to hold on for so long. Women are trouble. Qianye couldn't help but curl his lips. However, in the end, he stopped because they were teammates and had known each other since childhood, and he always had a good impression of these two famous beauties of the younger generation of Konoha. Kurenai Yuhi and Yuzuki Yugao also came over soon. Rest for half an hour before continuing on the journey, Qianye said lightly, and then walked aside to practice alone. The night of genocide was just around the corner. He would not miss any opportunity and time to make himself stronger, although this level of fatigue is nothing for him who already has the Otsutsuki physique. But even the smallest consumption is an experience, especially since he has just obtained the Otsutsuki physique. There are still many things he needs to experience, get used to, and become familiar with. Seeing this, Yuhi Kurenai and Mao Yuxiyan both found a place to sit down and rest. After running all the way, they were very tired and had wanted to stop and rest. Looking at Qianye who was immersed in practice, they both nodded secretly. Mao Yuxiyan said, "Among the ninjas of the same class as us, Hatake Kakashi is undoubtedly the one with the most outstanding talent and talent." The 12-year-old Konoha Jonin later shined in the Third Ninja World War. Just mentioning it makes people feel terrified. Although he is not much different from us in age, he has left us far behind. After Kakashi, Might Guy and Asuma are also very talented and promising young people. As for Uchiha Qianye, his current level is definitely not worse than anyone else, and even far exceeds our imagination. 3 days summer promotion, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Top up now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The 7 Ninja Swordsmen. Black Ho Raiga. That anyone here refers to Might Guy and Asuma. As for Kakashi, he has been automatically excluded, for a long time, because of Qianye's aloof and arrogant personality. Few people have contacted him, this also makes most people subconsciously forget and ignore him. Yuhi Kurenai and Mao Yu Shiyen are no exception. Until this time, when they were on a mission, they suddenly realized that they had become a jonin at the age of 15 or 16, and had opened the 3 Magatama Sharingan. This kind of combat power is no worse than the genius of the younger generation like Asuma. Yuhi Kurenai's red pupils have some strange looks. She and Asuma grew up together. She also knows Asuma's strength better. She may not know who is stronger between Asuma and Qianye, but she knows that Asuma is definitely not so diligent. Even on the way to the mission, he did not miss any opportunity to improve himself, and a diligent and talented person. Maybe it is really as Mao Yu Shiyen said, the level that Qianye has reached may not be worse than anyone else, and it has even far exceeded everyone's imagination. Moreover, Uchiha Qianye is not as indifferent as they think. Even if he wants to complete the task as soon as possible, he still chooses to rest temporarily. With Qianye's strength as a jonin, of course, it is not necessary. The reason for doing so is obviously considering the two of them. Half an hour later, Qianye and the other two set off again. They would stop to rest for a while almost every distance on the road. When they arrived at the border between the land of fire and the land of rivers, the sky had gradually darkened. The 3 of them rested there for a night. They continued on the next day. Not long after, they entered the territory of the land of rivers. It would take only 2 or 3 hours at most to deliver the things. Their mission this time was successfully completed. However, not long after they walked forward, suddenly, something unusual happened. It was foggy. At first, it was just a little bit. Later, it became bigger and thicker. The visibility was obviously reduced. Even Qianye's Sharingan was affected to a certain extent. This immediately alerted Qianye and the other two. No. There is an ambush. Qianye, Yuhi Kurenai, and Mao Yu Shiyen stood back to back in the thick fog, looking around vigilantly. Qianye, who had experienced many life-and-death battles in simulation, was already very accustomed to this tense atmosphere. All of this made him excited. After so many times in simulation, is it finally going to happen again in reality? Yuhi Kurenai and Mao Yu Shiyen were a little behind and seemed a little nervous. Ha. Suddenly, an unpleasant laugh was heard in the thick fog. It sounded like a drake talking, with a hint of contempt and amusement. Just listening to it made people feel sick and uncomfortable. 3 little ghosts, have you finally discovered it? The reaction is really slow. The voice seemed to come from all directions in the thick fog, and it was impossible to determine the enemy's exact location by sound. However, the opponent did not seem to have any intention of hiding. He appeared directly in the thick fog. It was a tall and straight figure with 2 swords on his back. He dared to stop Qianye and the other two, and dared to appear so openly. He must have had enough understanding of Qianye and the other two beforehand, and he had absolute confidence in himself in his heart. The novel was taken from the Rala's website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. These 3 little kids of Konoha would never be his opponents. The figure approached step by step. He did not walk fast, but with every step, Yuhi Kurenai and Yuzuki Yugao's faces became paler. They could feel the strong sense of oppression. It was not something that a mere chunin could resist. Qianye still had a calm expression. He looked at the approaching figure indifferently and said, "The 7 Mist Shadow Ninja Swordsman, Kuroki Raiga? Hey Chuleya." When hearing this name, the black shadow hidden in the fog was obviously stunned for a moment, put away some of the joking, and said in surprise, "Do you know me?" But, after a slight pause, the subject changed to the playful and contemptuous tone he had before. "But it doesn't matter. None of you will survive today anyway. Hand over the things you sent, and I can consider giving you a quick death." After saying this, Kuroki Raiga had already walked in front of Qianye and the other two, only 5 or 6 meters away. He had long green hair, thick black eyebrows, and a cruel and playful smile on his lips. His body was densely wrapped with circles of white bandages, and he was wearing a black vest. The most eye-catching thing was the 2 knives tied to his back. Although they were still in the scabbards, they were constantly releasing weak arcs of electricity, filled with a very dangerous feeling. One of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Kuroki Raiga. He is a well-known strong man in the huge fog shadow. Mao Yu Shiyen and Yuri Kurenai certainly would not have heard of this name. If compared with Konoha, he is definitely above the elite jonin. Facing such a strong enemy, Mao Yu Shiyen and Yuri Kurenai couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Subconsciously stood in front of Qianye. Behind Qianye, it seemed that only the back could bring them a sense of security. After all, the two of them were not very old, their strength was just that of a chunin, and they had not experienced too many life-and-death battles. When they saw the members of the legendary 7 ninja swordsmen, they couldn't help feeling a little afraid, seeing the expressions of Yuhi Kurenai and Yuzuki Yugao. Kuroki Raiga was very satisfied, he liked the way others were afraid when they saw him, which gave him a great sense of satisfaction, until his eyes finally fell on Qianye. The smile on his face froze, calm, apart from calmness. He did not see any changes in Qianye's expression, even after his eyes had stared at Qianye fiercely, it was still the same, as if he didn't exist at all. Or he didn't take him seriously at all. The smile at the corner of Kuroki Raiga's mouth became a little more cruel. Little ghost, you will pay for your behavior. Clang! The double swords behind him were drawn out. The blades were cold, revealing a hint of coldness. The blades were serrated, much like the fangs of a beast. The surroundings were densely packed with arcs, flashing frequently. At the same time, the black clouds above the sky began to condense, rumble. Thunder roared. Black Chu Leia crossed the two swords, raised them high, and shouted, "Thunder escape Leia." The next moment, the frequency of the arcs on the two swords flashed faster and faster, and soon formed a clear electric current, which shot upwards and connected with the lightning above the sky. 3-day summer discount event, recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, event time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fierce fight. Thunder blade technique. Rumble. Thunder roared in the sky, a flash of lightning came down vertically and connected with Kuroki Raiga's ninja sword, then it suddenly expanded. In an instant, a thick arc of electricity was like a galloping, hissing silver snake, swift, fierce, with the power to destroy everything. It fell in the direction of Qianye and the other two. Qianye, Yuhi Kurenai, and Maui Qian quickly jumped to avoid it. Boom! With a loud bang. The place where Qianye and the other two were standing had turned into a deep pit several meters deep. There was also a faint smell of burning in the air. The huge destructive power was beyond imagination. If you are not careful for a moment and are hit by such lightning, you may lose your resistance in an instant, be seriously injured, or even be in danger of your life. Yuhi Kurenai and Maui Qian both frowned slightly. A little solemn. It was originally just an ordinary sea-level mission, but they encountered an opponent of Kuroki Raiga's level. It was completely beyond their expectations. It's difficult. At this moment, they heard a voice, "Don't be afraid, I'm here." The two looked up subconsciously, but they saw Qianye's calm face without a trace of ripples. The Sharingan was opened, and the blood-red light flashed in his eyes. There was a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. Inexplicably, it gave people a very solid feeling. In that moment, Yuhi Kurenai and Yuzuki Yugao's heart seemed to stop beating. They even temporarily forgot that they were still in danger, until they saw Qianye jump up like a cannonball. They woke up. Qianye was going to face such a powerful opponent alone. Qianye Jun. Qianye. Yuhi Kurenai and Yuzuki Yugao exclaimed, the strength displayed by Kuroki Raiga has surpassed the level of elite jonin. Even if the three of them come together, they are not opponents. Not to mention that Qianye is alone, but Qianye ignored it and came to Kuroki Raiga very calmly. Kuroki Raiga crossed his arms and frowned at this ignorant boy. Before coming here, he already had a full understanding of his target, 1 jonin, 2 chunins. With his reputation as one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, Kuroki Raiga would not take such an opponent seriously at all. However, I don't know why. As Qianye approached step by step, he actually had an illusion of danger. This made him feel a little absurd. He quickly threw this idea behind his mind. Maybe it was really an illusion, just an ordinary kid. How could it pose a threat to him? Do you really think everyone is the copy ninja, Hatake Kakashi? He sneered. Kid, since you are so anxious to die, then I will fulfill your wish. After saying that, he stamped his feet fiercely. The ninja sword in his hand was raised high again. The lightning that was so terrible that it could cut off all life gathered in an instant, attached to the ninja sword. It seemed ready to burst out at any time, emitting arcs of electricity outward. Thunder blade technique. Thundergate. Kuroki Raiga shouted, he thrust the two ninja swords in his hands, which had accumulated countless lightning, fiercely into the ground. The next moment, the lightning gathered on the ninja swords intersected with the lightning in the sky, triggering a larger range of lightning. The surrounding area of dozens of square meters was turned into a lightning field. In the sky, lightning rolled and fell with a bang, dense and frequent. It was determined to destroy all life, even Yuhi Kurenai and Yuzuki Yugao, who were on the edge, were affected. They had to retreat a distance. They frowned slightly, looking at the sea of lightning anxiously and concernedly. Jinchūriki really deserves to be one of the 7 mist shadow ninja swordsmen. It has reached such a terrible level. They were affected to such an extent from such a distance. Qianye was in the center of the lightning. How could it be possible? But soon they were stunned, their rosy and attractive red lips slightly opened, with an incredible look on their faces. They saw that in the sea of lightning, countless under the dense thunder and lightning, an extremely agile figure was jumping in it. There were many thunder and lightning, and they were dense. Gathering in one place was like an ocean. But Qianye could always find a suitable gap to avoid it, from a distance. It was like a small boat in the sea, seemingly shaky, but as stable as a mountain. Such agile body movements and swift speed, they had never seen it in Might Guy, who was always good at physical skills. It was really shocking. At this time, they all thought of Qianye's smile that made people feel extremely reassuring, and those few short words, "Don't be afraid, I'm here." Maybe he can really do it. Jinchūriki also quickly noticed something unusual. Such agile speed. Even those ninjas who have been famous for many years may not be able to do it, and this kid in front of him. Could it be that Konoha really has another Hatake Kakashi? So, in order to avoid more trouble, he directly released the next ninjutsu, Lightning Escape Sky-Splitting Thunder Snake. The lightning on the thunder blade quickly gathered and spread to the entire blade, and then covered the body of Jinchūriki. It seemed that the whole person was integrated with the lightning. In this state, lightning is his means of attack, but also a kind of protection. At the same time, hundreds of small snakes flashing with arcs broke away from his body. Under the control of chakra, they all went towards Qianye. Jinchūriki looked at Qianye, who was jumping and dodging in the sea of lightning indifferently, with a cruel smile on his lips. Once hit by this ninjutsu of his, it is impossible to dodge it. Hundreds of electric shocks at the same time. Even if you don't die, you will be useless. There was still no change on Qianye's face. The speed that was already extremely fast became faster in an instant. It vividly demonstrated what it means that the world's martial arts can only be broken by speed. No matter what lightning that fell from the sky, the electric snake controlled by chakra, it couldn't even touch the corner of Qianye's clothes. The smile on Jinchūriki's face slowly froze. Physical skills. How could the Uchiha kid have such superb physical skills without practicing the Sharingan? Qianye jumped in the air and came to Jinchūriki, and his momentum did not weaken at all. He shook his hand into a fist and jumped high again. This punch was as fast as lightning, like a roaring wave, tearing the air. Jinchūriki snorted coldly, while using his ninja sword to parry. On the other hand, dozens of lightning snakes were scattered from his body again. Compared with the previous ones, the number of lightning snakes was less and the size was smaller, but the terrible destructive power contained in it was not bad at all, and it was even stronger. Moreover, in such a short distance, even if you have the fastest body skills, don't think about avoiding it. 3-day summer promotion, recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There is indeed a gap in strength. Kill the black Jinchūriki. Dozens of silver snakes transformed from lightning dispersed from Jinchūriki's body. They shot towards Qianye with their fangs and claws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dozens of lightning snakes gathered together, bursting out dazzling white light, making it impossible to look directly at them. At this time, the distance between the two was only 1 step away. Qianye had already risen into the air and leaped in the air. With absolutely no room for escape, Jinchūriki half-squinted his eyes. With a slight smile on his lips, as if he had seen the scene of Qianye being hit by the black snake and suffering, this task, which should have been a piece of cake and easy to complete, had some accidents, especially the little ghost in front of him, brought him too many surprises. But all this is finally coming to an end. Jinchūriki's expression suddenly froze. he saw that the lightning snakes with shining white light fell on Qianye's body one after another, but the lightning snake, which had always been invincible, suddenly disappeared when it touched Qianye. It did not cause even a trace of damage at all. How is this possible? Chu Leiya's expression changed drastically, and he was extremely shocked. He had never seen such a situation before. Lightning release sky-splitting thunder snake. This is the strongest ninjutsu he can master. He has seen people who can avoid it, and he has also encountered people who use stronger ninjutsu to resist it, but it is the first time that he has seen someone who can endure it so hard without any damage. In other words, can this kid in front of him ignore lightning? Then why did he dodge before? What kind of monster is this? The information is wrong. Fuck an ordinary Konoha Jonin. Change an elite Jonin and take a hit, and see if you will die. Just when he was distracted, Qianye's punch, as fast as lightning, tore through the air and fell heavily. Bang! Chu Leiya was knocked away by a punch and fell to the ground. He was knocked unconscious and couldn't stand up for a while. Is that all? Qianye looked at Kuroki Raiga indifferently, and said in a flat tone, the 7 ninja swordsmen are nothing more than that. This fight with Kuroki Raiga can be completely regarded as a concentrated reflection of the improvement of strength after dozens of life-and-death battles in the simulation system, even if no ninjutsu was used, just relying on the observation of the Sharingan, as well as the speed, agility, strength of the Otsutsuki physique, and the exaggerated endurance and recovery ability. It is enough to defeat Kuroki Raiga, a ninja with some reputation in the ninja world, and the process is smooth. It's so easy. Yuzuki Yugao and Yuhi Kurinai, who were watching the battle, were also amazed. Kuroki Raiga, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, his strength is above the elite Jonin. He has also experienced the hardships of the Third Ninja World War, but now, he was defeated by a junior without any suspense. Yuzuki Yugao has not recovered until now. This is simply too shocking. Everyone, including us, underestimated him. That he has completely walked ahead of us, just like Kakashi, and has reached the level of existence that can be compared with those ninjas who have been famous for a long time. Yuhi Kurinai's expression was complicated, and there was deep admiration mixed with shock. Originally, I thought that even if Qianye's strength was hidden, he would at most be a little stronger than Asuma, but now, the strength displayed by Qianye has reached an incredible level, and it can only be described in 4 words, that is unfathomable. Pfft. Chu Leiya spat out a mouthful of blood, gritted his teeth, and endured the severe pain in his body to stand up. At this moment, he was ashamed and angry. He was defeated by such a little kid. It was really unforgivable. At the same time, all the previous underestimation and contempt for Qianye turned into incomparable solemnity. This little kid, after being subjected to his ninjutsu, was actually unharmed, and that incredible speed was really too weird. At this moment, Chu Leiya suddenly felt that a sharp iron object had been pressed against his back. He was stunned and dared not move again, because he knew what the consequences of doing so would be. Who sent you? Qianye's voice was flat, but it was a tone that could not be refused. This time, the mission they were carrying out was only sea-level in difficulty. The things sent were also great treasures for ordinary people, but for a ninja like Kuroki Raiga who had a great reputation in the ninja world, it was nothing at all. Why would he come here specially? This is too strange. Unless someone instructed him. Qianye had a vague guess in his heart. He asked Kuroki Raiga just to confirm his inner guess. However, Kuroki Raiga sneered, completely ignored him, and ignored him at all. He, Kuroki Raiga, was not a coward. What's more, he was just a Konoha Jonin. Who dared to do anything to him? At most, he would hand him back to Konoha, let the Konoha high-level people deal with him. With his understanding of that person, it would only take a few minutes to get him back. There was no need to worry at all. Qianye didn't say any more nonsense about this. The kunai in his hand stabbed directly. Kuroki Raiga only felt a pain in the back of his heart, as if his heart was pierced. You. His face flushed red, and he could hardly utter a complete sentence when he wanted to speak. Finally, his whole body went limp and he fell to the ground, deader than dead. Don't want to talk? Then just go to hell. Do you really think you can negotiate any terms? Qianye didn't have the patience to say anything. Yuhi Kurinai and Yuzuki Yugao, who came from not far away, couldn't help but screamed when they saw the corpses on the ground with blood all over the place. Although they had seen corpses during the Third Ninja World War, they still felt like they were in a dream when they saw that the opponent, who seemed to be stronger, died tragically on the spot. After waiting for a while, they finally calmed down. Neither of them asked why Qianye killed Kuroki Raiga instead of bringing him back to Konoha. The battle between the two sides was a life-and-death struggle and a very dangerous thing. How could they hold back? Casualties were inevitable. Instead, they had to be grateful for Qianye's presence, so that they could stop Kuroki Raiga and successfully complete the mission. Qianye-kun, let's go. Mao Yuxian raised her head, with 2 blushes on her cheeks, and said to Qianye, after resting for so long, even if she was frightened just now, she has recovered a long time ago. It's time to go. In order to avoid any unexpected situations, the most important thing is to complete the task as soon as possible. Yes. Qianye nodded, and turned his head to look deeply in the direction behind him. Then he rushed to the destination of this mission with Zihe Hong and Maoyue Xian. 3 days summer promotion, top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Top up now. Activity time, August 13th to August 15th. Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sir, if you are handsome, you can do whatever you want. After Qianye, Zihe Hong, and Maoyue Xian left, a white figure slowly emerged from the tree trunks in the dark of the forest. He looked at the direction where Qianye and the others left, with a somewhat surprised and cold smile on his face. Have you been discovered? Such a keen sense of how easy it was to kill the 7 ninja swordsmen of Kuroki Raiga. It's getting more and more interesting. On the other side, Qianye and the other 2 rushed all the way after experiencing the ambush of Kuroki Raiga. Finally, after a few hours, they handed the things to the daimyo and completed the task. After a short rest, they left. After this mission, especially the battle with Kuroki Raiga, he had a basic understanding of his current strength. With the blessing of the Otsutsuki physique, he has made a qualitative leap in all aspects, especially in terms of physical skills, his strength, agility, and adaptability. Even the elite ninjas who are good at physical skills are not enough in front of Qianye now. Secondly, the strong recovery and endurance make him invincible. Even when facing Kuroki Raiga's lightning escape, he doesn't care. He can withstand the damage of lightning to the body in a short time and recover quickly. The Sharingan has far more insight than ordinary people. It can clearly see the flaws of the enemy when releasing ninjutsu, and in ninjutsu, with such superb physical skills, coupled with terrifying endurance and recovery ability. That's why he could easily get rid of Kuroki Raiga, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Hidden Mist. This greatly boosted his confidence, even though he still has a certain gap in front of Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito, the masked man disguised as Uchiha Madara, who are real Kage-level strongmen. But this is only his first simulation. According to the time, he will have 4 more simulation opportunities later. And he can obtain 4 powerful abilities from these 4 simulations. By the night of the genocide, he may not really be unable to compete with Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito. Qianye, Yuhi Kurinai, and Yuzuki Yugao returned to Konoha and immediately reported the situation to the 3rd Hokage. When he heard that he met Kuroki Raiga, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, on the way to the mission, the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was obviously a little surprised. After hearing that it was Qianye who killed Kuroki Raiga, the 3rd Hokage was even more surprised. He looked at Qianye deeply, but in the end he said nothing. After understanding the specific situation, he let the 3 leave first. It was sunset, and the afterglow of the setting sun stretched the shadows of the 3 people. Not far away, they met a few young ninjas. After seeing the figures of the 3 of them, they waved and ran over quickly. However, all those who came to greet them rushed to Yuhi Kurinai and Maoyue Yugao. Instead, Qianye was left standing alone aside, and no one paid attention to him. The lively scene next to him was completely incompatible with him. They were standing together, but it was like 2 different worlds. However, Qianye shook his head and walked towards the village alone. After traveling to this world for so many years, he had long been accustomed to these. Qianye-kun. Behind him, Yuhi Kurinai's voice suddenly came. Qianye turned around, and the afterglow of the setting sun sprinkled on his body and face. A flawless, impeccable handsome face seemed to be coated with a layer of golden light. Yuhi Kurinai, Mao Yuxian and several female ninjas present were stunned for a moment, especially Yuhi Kurinai and Mao Yuxian. At this moment, They all remembered the faint and reassuring smile on Qianye's face when facing Kuroki Raiga. Turning around, he saw Yuhi Kurenai, Mao Yu Shiyen and several other female ninjas staring at him blankly, not saying a word. The other male ninjas all had unfriendly expressions on their faces, especially the ninja with black hair, goatee and a cigarette in his mouth. His eyes seemed to be spitting sparks. Qianye knew this man. The son of the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, Sarutobi Asuma. And he also knew that Asuma had admired Yuhi Kurenai for a long time, but Yuhi Kurenai had never expressed it too obviously. Now it seems that she probably regards him as a rival in love. Qianye was speechless for a while, but he didn't care too much. The opponents he is facing now are Danzo, Uchiha Itachi, and Uchiha Obito, Asuma. He is just a kid who hasn't grown up yet. He is nothing at all. Is there something wrong? Qianye looked at the sunset red and said, "Oh." Shiri Hong reacted and lowered her head quickly, not daring to look directly at Qianye's extremely handsome face. She smiled to cover up her embarrassment, and then said, "Qianye Jun, we just finished the task, and we are going to get together tonight. No need, I have something else to do." Qianye interrupted Shiri Hong before she finished speaking and turned away. He never liked noisy environments. What's more, what time is it now? In a few days, it will be the night of the Uchiha clan extermination. He must work hard to practice and improve his strength to deal with that life and death moment. How can he waste time on such things? Well, the brilliance in Yuhi Kurenai's eyes was fleeting, and the original expectation turned into gloom. She moved her lips, as if she wanted to say something, but in the end, she didn't say it. The same thing happened to Yuzuki Yugao beside her. Looking at Qianye's back as he left, she sighed softly. Originally thought that after completing a mission together and facing such a strong enemy like Kuroki Raiga together, the relationship between them would be somewhat closer. Unexpectedly, it was still the same. It was the Qianye who had always kept people at a distance. It seemed as if nothing could enter his heart. He was such a mysterious man. No matter what he does, Hong kindly invited him, but he refused directly. "If you don't want to come, then don't come. Who are you pretending to be like that for? Really give me face but don't want it." Asuma was whispering bad things about Qianye. Suddenly, he felt two cold eyes looking at him. They were Yuhi Kurenai and Yuzuki Yugao. Seeing that something was wrong, he sneered and said, "Did I say something wrong? Asuma, I don't allow you to say that about Qianye-kun." Shiri Hong said seriously, "I won't allow it either." Mao Yu Shiyen also said very seriously. After that, he snorted coldly and left directly. Asuma was stunned. What's going on? He just said a few more words. Why is he so angry? They have been in love for more than 10 years, he has only known Uchiha Qianye for a few days. How come? Thinking of this, Asuma couldn't help but sigh. Is being handsome really that important? 3-day summer discount event, recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Event time, August 13th to August 15th.